What's poppin', Cougs? Welcome back to another episode of Coug on the Clock. I'm your host, as usual, Alexander Huddleston.
And I am Alphonso Valdivia.
Alfonso Valdivia. Welcome to Coug on the Clock. I know you've been here before, but we have no one together.
Yeah, I'm honored to be on a show with you now, Alex.
Don't honored. Just feel appreciated.
Let's go.
I appreciate you. All right. Well, today we have some serious topics, actually. We have, first off, WSU Basketball and their transfer portal, as well as incoming freshmen coming in that I'm super excited about. MLB opening day weekends, kind of a recap of that. The tragic death of Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Dwayne Haskins, and Deebo Samuel. What's going on with that? So yeah, with that, let's get into the show.
Get it.
All right, so first topic we have is WSU Basketball and their transfer portal. We have a star player from the last two seasons, had kind of a rocky season here in the Palouse this year. Noah Williams entered the transfer portal, was it last week, I believe?
Yeah, it was,
Do you have the
last
date?
week. Last week.
Yeah, last week. We had Ryan Rapp earlier in the month, and Jefferson Koulibaly also entered the transfer portal. Both those players are sparks off the bench, but Noah Williams is a big name in WSU basketball going to the transfer portal, which we actually learned today.
Yeah, he's going to UW.
So we no longer care about Noah Williams, sadly. Well, you know what? It's personal. It's personal.
He was a big name. He broke out in the 2019 and 20 season as a freshman. He really stand out with his perimeter defense, and as a sophomore, he finished the year as Wazzu's #2 scorer. I mean, those were pretty good statics, but now he had a terrible last season here at Wazzu. He didn't start any of the Cougars' 4 neat games, and now I think, who's going to take his place?
Well, I got somebody who's going to take his place. You know, after a rocky season with Noah, averaging 9.5 points and 3.1 rebounds a game, which is super low for a star player. Who we got next is Dylan Darling, a young freshman coming in to WSU, who out of Central Valley High School. If any of you guys, any Cougars out here went to Central Valley, this one's for you. Multiple family members at WSU already, a couple cousins, and his parents actually met. He's the son of legendary Cougar linebacker James Darling. So we already have that Cougar blood running in him. So that's already exciting enough. But let me tell you, Dylan Darling, by far, is one of the greatest high school athletes I've ever seen in person. I had the honor to talk to him and actually watch one of his games a couple months ago with one of our other talents, Luke, and just an absolute menace on the court. He had averaged in high school this season 33.2 points per game, 8.5 rebounds per game, and then 5.8 assists. Just an absolute baller. In the game, the game that I called and I got to watch him in, he scored 49 points and 14 rebounds. And it was a playing game. They were down by I think like 15 to 20 points. He himself took the game in his own hands and brought the team back and won the game in overtime by himself. 49 points. And over the season had multiple 50-point games. As a high school athlete.
So, do you think with those stats, do you think he's going to become a starter?
Dude, I think he's going to be more than a starter. I think he's going to be – this is a hot take. This is going to be a hot take, and I'm going to stand on this hill until I die on it. He's going to be the best player WSU has seen since Klay Thompson, and possibly maybe even better.
Oh.
It's out there. It's out there. That's the take.
That's some hot words. I mean, let's hope him for the best.
Yeah, no, for real.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. And good luck to Williams with a struggling UW team. But on to the next topic. We have the MLB opening day weekend. Is it opening day or opening weekend?
Opening day.
I feel like if we say opening day, then the weekend just looks weird. Whatever. You know what?
Right.
Opening day weekend. We're going to stick with that. I like that.
Yeah. It was last Thursday, and it wasn't disappointing at all.
No, it was a great weekend of baseball. I mean, We have one team that finished undefeated on the weekend, which was the Tampa Bay Rays, 3-0. Seattle, for all those Seattle fans that go here, the Mariners are currently 2-1 versus the Twins. Of course, there is a game going on right now that we are not able to tell you the score of. But for the hopefuls, we'll just say 3-1 against the Twins. We'll just say it just for the hopefuls. And I'm probably jinxing it. And Gunner's probably punching the air back there in the control room. But it's actually their first back-to-back opening wins since 2019.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's great. I mean,
big
we saw Robbie Ray making his debut for the Mariners, winning their first game of the season, giving a good impression. And for some fans, he also gave good fantasy points.
No, there you go. Yeah, fantasy baseball. I've actually never played that, but
me neither. But
I'm excited for these Mariners. They're exciting. Do you have any big moments from the weekend? Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, as I said last Thursday, it wasn't disappointing at all. We saw the New York Yankees against the Boston Red Sox play another game in their historic rivalry, with Josh Donaldson providing a walk-off with an extra innings. Also, the Detroit Tigers started with another win in walk-off fashion against the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah, those poor Sox, the Red Sox and the White Sox. Those are bad names for teams. I don't know what the Sox were. They just ran out of names back in the 20s, and they were like, "All right, you guys have Red Sox, so you are." It's like shirts versus skins. Yeah. Can you imagine being like well, I guess the Skins were already a team.
No.
All right, moving on. We're gonna cancel.
Wait. So
they were canceled.
I know this is some early in the season.
Yeah.
It's just been 3-4 weeks from MLB. I mean, games.
Yeah.
Whatever. So what are your early top teams?
Early top teams? I mean, the Padres are a top team. I think I'll support the Mariners. Go M's. Believe.
Believe.
Astros. I mean, here's a takeaway I got from the weekend. You could take away Carlos Correa and George Springer, and they're still a dominant force. I mean, they did play the Angels, who are struggling, but they're still a machine. I mean, opening weekend winning, I think, two out of 3 games, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, no, you take away 2 of their top players, the Astros are still a contender, in my opinion. A couple other big moments you had Ohtani, only had 1 hit on, I believe it was the first 2 games or first game. But then Sunday, slugged the ball deep into right field with breaking a record for I think it was 119.1 mile per hour exit velocity, which is the highest exit velocity by a left-handed hitter ever. So that was huge. And then you mentioned Robbie Ray making a debut. Julio Rodriguez for the Mariners had his first major league hit. Now he's a fan favorite for the Mariners. In the 9th inning, which is huge, especially for a rookie or a prospect, I guess you could call him.
Sorry, talking about a little bit more about the Mariners.
Yeah, go for it, man.
I know the time is on us, but what do you think? Would they finally end a 21-year playoff drought?
Oh, for sure. Oh, I think so for sure.
Yes.
No, I mean last year, just based on how they, it was a 90-win season, I believe, right? Fact check, Evan. 90-win season, correct? Yeah, it was 90-win season. All the baseball I watch. It was a 90-win. It was a good season, and it was like cutting it close to the end was the reason they couldn't make it. And honestly, if they play like this again this year, and they just upgraded the lineup, in my opinion, I think they're making it. I think they're going to do great this year. I think it's going to be a good season. But let's actually move on to the last. Or we have 2 more topics.
2 more topics.
Next topic, actually a little more serious. We are
devastated.
Devastated. Thank you. That was the word. Devastated by the loss of Pittsburgh quarterback Dwayne Haskins. Died early Saturday morning. I think it was on his way to training with some of his teammates. He was hit on the freeway while he was crossing lanes on foot. Unknown reasons why he was crossing lanes.
I'm surprised why he was walking on foot.
I'm assuming maybe something fell out of his car and he just went to grab it and was waiting for an opportunity. But he played at Washington. He was actually drafted to Washington in 2019 in the 15th pick overall the first round.
Yeah.
And then played last year behind Ben Roethlisberger at Pittsburgh.
Before that, in 2018, he was actually one of the finalists for the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, he was the second runner-up. Yeah, he was
at Ohio State.
Yeah, first he only started. Yeah, I mean that was his first year starting for Ohio State, and he became an instant fan favorite in the state of Ohio, just because he came in for J.T. Barrett, who got hurt in the Michigan game, and they came back and won that game, that's the Michigan-Ohio State game. That's the rivalry game. Came in, whooped butt, and he became the starter over Joe Burrow, who we all know who he is, the next season. Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, tragic loss to not just his family, but the NFL community overall, and the world. He was a great guy. He was a stand-up kid.
Do you know what was also stunning? I mean,
he was only 24.
He was 24, but also,
only 24.
What can you tell me about Adam Schefter? What he said, what he tweeted? That was so unprofessional.
Let me read you the quote.
Can you please read the quote?
So Adam Schefter, I wouldn't say a prized, but a very well-known NFL reporter on Twitter, he shared the death of Dwayne Haskins. He said, Dwayne Haskins, a standout at Ohio State before struggling to catch on with the Washington and Pittsburgh in the NFL, died this morning when he got hit by a car in South Florida, per his agent Cedric Saunders. Haskins would have turned 25 years old on May 3rd. You know, the second half of that statement was great because you just talked about what happened and, you know, where you got your source and, you know, you would have turned 25. Like, that's great information. The first information,
struggling.
You don't talk about someone's struggles in their career
when they die.
And the NFL fan base and players and everybody on Twitter just went in on Schefter. He actually deleted it and edited it and talked about, you know.
I'm surprised how he deleted it like 20 minutes after, because it became so viral. Like it
immediately.
Got 9,000 retweets, more than 20,000 comments, and more than almost 40,000 likes.
They were all people who were very upset about what he said. You don't talk. You had former Ohio State quarterback Cardale Jones talked about, and we're going a little overtime. Talked about how, you know, why don't you say this? You know, Dwayne Haskins, son, husband, teammate, brother. You know, like actual things that matter to him and his family. Des Bryant commented on Adam Schefter, saying, you know, it's sad that's a common mindset for him. And Lamar Jackson, you know, we all know who that is. He called it a lame, or he called it lame or whatever. That's what he commented. But I feel like just based on that reaction alone, it was awesome to see, you know, everybody, the NFL kind of come together, the fan base, the coaches, the staff, the players, all come together and realize you don't say that. Like athletes are human too.
Yeah, they're just not only entertainment.
Yeah, they're not just entertainment. There needs to be more of a respect on them and their families and their lives, because, you know, when someone dies, you don't want to hear about what they struggle with or what issues they had. You want to hear, you know, uplifting things. Honestly, I feel like Schefter he owes it to Haskins' family.
Yes.
It's just sad that happened.
I mean, and he tried to replace the word struggling on his Twitter, on his tweet, with Washington's first-round pick on the other tweet that he made later. I mean, I would like.
Which at that point, if you're gonna edit your tweet, I feel like you should just leave his career out altogether. Just talk about who he was as a family guy, and who he was off the field. Because off the field, he was loved by fans and loved by coaching staff.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, it's just a sad thing, honestly. But we'll leave it at that. Just, you know, for anybody watching, one, you know, go say I love you to some loved ones, because you never know what's going to happen. Anything can happen. So just reach out to those who maybe you don't talk to every day. Just check on people. You know, just.
Yeah, you never know what would happen. You can be really healthy one day.
Mm-hmm.
You can be living your best life, and one moment,
yeah,
it could be.
That just left a bitter taste in my mouth. But we'll move on to the last topic. We'll actually talk about end the show on kind of a I don't want to say happier note. That sounds kind of messed up. But like
Deebo
Samuel is just like. Now I'm more sad. After a crazy offseason in the NFL, the 49ers have been absolutely stagnant, not signing or trading for anybody at least notable. I mean, we got Shavarius Ward, but nothing else happened. Debo, who was just an absolute beast this year, and I know you have some information on him. I mean, just absolute athlete on the field.
Yeah.
Is not pleased with the options that the Niners are giving him at all.
I mean, why is he possibly leaving the Niners? I mean, he wants to be the highest non-quarterback player paid in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he said he wanted to get that money because of his impact and versatility.
I mean, he created a new
had
position.
In the season.
He created a new position, the wide back. That's
yeah,
a
I mean,
whole new
no
thing.
doubt about it. He's really good and everything. But he wants to be paid more than $30 million a year. That's a little bit too much. I mean, I know you're a 49ers fan and everything. I mean, I'm a Seahawks fan, honestly. Yeah. But if you're not a fan, I mean, I doubt that you really heard his name before in previous seasons.
Right.
He didn't do that much in last
he was
couple
injured,
of seasons.
injured the last season before, and the season before that, I mean, he was a rookie, so, just like, oh, yeah, that new kid,
Yeah. So I think you have to be, I mean, just for one season, I don't think he deserves to be paid that much.
I think he deserves to be paid, but not that much.
Yeah, not that much. I mean, I will give him like 22 million. I mean,
and one of the main issues is cap space. I mean, the Niners, as much as I love Garoppolo and I'm a huge supporter of him being on the Niners and start, I wanted him to start last season. The issue is they're keeping him around. They could have traded him. They could have gotten that cap space. They could have paid Debo already, but I mean they've kept Garoppolo around. They've declined trade requests, and it's not helping at all.
I mean, I'm sorry. I want to add. And the difference is that other receivers that have been around in the league, like Devontae Adams, yes,
and it isn't helping the situation.
I know.
Devontae Adams sees that.
He's getting paid $28 million a year, and for me, I think right now he's the best wide receiver in the league. I mean, and Debo wants to get paid more than $30 million. I mean, not. And Cooper Kupp, I mean, he's only getting $16 million a year.
Wow.
I mean, it's a huge
Tyreek Hill
difference.
and the Dolphins getting $30 million.
Oh, yes.
I mean, it's just, I feel like as a receiver who is new to the league, I feel like start at $20 million. I feel like that's where you cap off. $20 million at the most.
I would say he needs to be, he needs to at least have 2 more seasons like the one he had right now to ask for that much money.
Yeah. And honestly, it's worrying as a Niner fan. Debo, was it 2 weeks ago, literally went in his Instagram, deleted every picture he has of him in a Niner uniform, deleted them all, archived them probably. I bet you he's still waiting. He's fine. I'm positive. Deleted his profile picture. And it's not clearly showing. I feel like on nowadays on social media, the only way you show you're upset with something is if you delete things off your Instagram. People are like, oh, whoa. Jessica and Derek must have broken up because they deleted their pictures together. You know what I mean? So it's like that's how it works now.
Sorry, I want to ask you, what would you think would happen to him if he goes to another team?
I mean, one, I feel like the Niners still are going to sign him because they did this last season with Fred Warner and George Kittle. So I feel like it's a very high possibility they still sign him. They just like to wait until, to see if, he still wants to play. But if he goes to another team.
Yeah, like, for example, Dolphins, for example.
I don't think so. I feel like he'd be probably the Jets. I feel like the Jets would be willing to pay that much.
Or Jets.
But, yeah, so that's the Debo Samuel situation. Kind of sucks right now as a Niner fan.
Sorry, you know what I think is going to happen? I mean, I would think that if he moves to another team, he's not going to be
as dominant.
Yeah, as dominant as he was last season. Because we've seen that before with 49ers. The 49ers are really good because of their coaching staff. The 49ers have a really good
coaching they just lost their main staffer this last offseason. McDaniels, he went down to the Dolphins.
Oh, yeah, as a head coach, right?
Yeah.
So we've seen that before in players like wide receiver Corey Coleman and running back Matt Breida. And maybe even with Raheem Mostert, now that he's a free agent.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
No, I mean, let's hope the best for Debo.
I really hope the Niners can re-sign him. But our camera people are currently getting bored. I can tell one of our camera people is taking a Snapchat. So let's wrap these up.
Let's wrap this up. I'm so sorry.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I don't have a birthday today. So you know what? Happy birthday to John. Because I know you're out there. John, Your birthday is, what is it, April? It's April 13th. April 13th birthdays. Stacy, happy birthday. I don't know. Anybody. But you know what? Thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming back on the show. Only a couple more episodes coming out left because the school is closing. I'm not allowed to stay here over summer because my mom's going to miss me. But yeah, make sure you follow us on Instagram at Wazzu Sports Network, on Twitter at Wazzu Sports Net. And don't forget to go to YouTube and subscribe, like, comment, share, hit that little bell thing that the YouTubers always click on. But yeah, thanks for coming in. And as always, go Cougs.
Go Cougs.